Somewhere in the cell structure of the brain is located an organ which receive vibration of thought, ordinarily called hunches. So far, science has not discovered where these organs of the sixth sense is located, but this is not important. The fact remains that human beings do receive accurate knowledge through source other than the physical sense. Such knowledge generally are received when the mind is under the influence of extraordinary stimulation. Any emergency which arouses the emotions and causes the heart of the beat more rapidly than normal may and generally does bring the sixth sense into action. Anyone who has experienced a near accident where driving knows that one such occasion the sixth sense often comes to one's rescue and aid by a split second in avoiding the accident. These facts are mentioned preliminary to a statement of fact which I shall now make, namely that during my meeting with the invisible counselor, I find my mind most receptive to ideas through and knowledge which reach me through the sixth sense. I can truthfully say I owe entirely to my invisible counselor full credit for such ideas, facts, or knowledge as I received through inspiration. On a score of occasions when I have faced emergencies, some of them so grave that my life was in jeopardy, I have been miraculous miraculously guided past these difficulties through the influence of my visible counselor. My original purpose in conducting council meeting with imaginary beings was solely that of impressing my own subconscious mind through the principles of auto-suggestion with certain characteristics which I desired to acquire in more recent years. My experimentation has taken on entirely different trend. I now go to my imaginary counselors with every difficult problem which confront me and my client. The results are often astonishing, although I do not depend entirely on this form of counsel. You, of course, have recognized that this chapter covers a subject with which a majority of people are not familiar. The sixth sense is a subject that will be of great interest and benefit of the person whose aim is to accumulate vast wealth when it need not calm the attention of those whose desires are most modest. Henry Ford undoubtedly understands and makes practical use of the sixth sense. His vast business and financial operations make it necessary for him to understand and use this principle. The last Thomas Edison the late Thomas Edison understood and used the sixth sense in connection with the development of invention, especially those involving basic patents, in connection with which he had no human experience and no accumulated knowledge to guide him, as was the case while he was working on the talking machine and the moving picture machine. Nearly all great leaders such as Napoleon, Bismarck, Joan of Arc, Chris Buddha, Confucius, and Muhammad understood and probably made use of the sixth sense almost continuously. The major portion of their greatness consisted of their knowledge of this principle. The sixth sense is not something that one can take off and put on at will. Ability to use this great power comes slowly through applications of the other principles outlined in this book. Seldom does any individual come into workable knowledge on the sixth sense before the age of 40. More often, the knowledge is not available until one is well past 50, and this for the reason that the spiritual forces with which the sixth sense is so closely related do not mature and become usable except through years of meditation, self-examination, and serious thought. No matter who you are or what may have been your purpose in reading this book, with you can profit by it without understanding the principle described in this chapter. This is especially true If your major purpose is that of accumulation of money or other material thing, the chapter on the sixth sense was included because the book is designed for the purpose of presenting a complete philosophy by which individual may unerringly guide themselves in attaining whatever the arcs of life. The starting point of all achievement is desire. The finishing point is that brand of knowledge which leads to understanding, understanding of self, understanding of others, understanding of the laws of nature, recognition and understanding of happiness. The sort of understanding comes in its fullness only through familiarity with and use of the principle of the sixth sense. Hence, the principle had to be included as a part of this philosophy for the benefit of those who demand more than money. Having read the chapter, you must have observed that while reading it, you were lifted to a high level of mental stimulation. Splendid. Come back to this again a month from now. Read it once more and observe that your mind will soar to a still higher level of stimulation. Repeat this experience from time to time, giving no concern as how much or how little you learned that at the time, and eventually you will find yourself in possession of a power that will enable you to throw off discouragement, master fear, overcome procrastination, and draw freely upon your imagination. Then you have felt the touch of that unknown something which has been moving the spirit of every truly great thinker, leader, artist, musician, writer, statesman. Then you will then you will be in position to transmute your desire into the physical or financial counterpart as easily as you may lie down and kite at the first sign of opposition. Faith versus fear. Previous chapters have described how to develop faith through autosuggestion, desire, and subconscious. The next chapter presents details instructions for the mastery of fear. Here will be found a full description of the six senses, which are the cause of all discouragement, timidity, procrastination, indifference, indecisions, and the lack of ambition, self reliance, initiative, self control, enthusiasm. Search yourself carefully as you study these six enemies, as they may exist only in your subconscious mind, where their presence will be hard to detect. Remember Remember too, as you analyze the six ghosts of fear, that they are nothing but ghosts because they exist only in one mind. Remember also that ghost creation of uncontrolled imagination have caused most of the damage people have done to their own minds. Therefore, ghosts can be as dangerous as if they live and walk on the earth in physical bodies. The ghost of fear of poverty, which seized the mind of millions of people in 1929, was so real that it caused the worst business depression in this country has ever known. Moreover, this particular ghost is still frightened some of us out of our wits.